Hello and welcome to tonight's Google Hangout on Air, where Matt Miller and I will be sharing some of our favorite must-have Google Chrome extensions for the new school year. My name is Noah Geisel. I'm at Senior G on the Twitter, and more importantly, he is Matt Miller. Matt, thanks for being here with us.
Hey man, I'm so excited to do this. Anytime we were just talking about this, anytime we can get together and chat about technology and education, it's a good day. So I'm excited to do it.
Yeah, me too. And, before we get started, just in case somebody is living under some just very heavy rock and is unaware about your book, Ditch That Textbook, go ahead and just fill us in on this amazing resource for teaching and learning that you've published.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So this is my book. This is my baby, Ditch That Textbook. So it kind of goes into several different facets, and it's not just about like throwing textbooks in the nearest dumpster. It's like the textbook way that we've been teaching, the textbook way we've looked at education kind of needs to shift in light of where our world is going. And so it suggests some practical things you can do in the classroom. That's the section called Ditch That Textbook, but also like mindsets that need to shift in the current age. So that's a section called Ditch That Mindset. There's a couple of other sections in it too. That's most of it, but would love anybody to take a look at it and check it out.
Absolutely. And as far as resources beyond just buying the textbook, you also have a Ditch Book chat you run?
Yes, that's right. That's on Twitter on Thursday nights, 10 o'clock Eastern, all the way down to 7 o'clock Pacific. It's only 30 minutes. We usually do about 4 or 5 questions. And then if it's a topic you really like, you can hang around for bonus questions afterwards. So if you do the Twitter chat thing, love to see anybody in on that. We've got just a variety of topics. And so, feel free to check us out over there.
Awesome. Yeah, I highly encourage anybody who's watching this live or recording to definitely check out Ditch That Textbook. It's a great book, super informative read. And like Matt said, it goes well beyond just literally throwing out the textbook. And it's really, for me, it was all about a mindset to teaching and learning. And definitely take advantage of Matt's Twitter chat. And right now, we're going to take advantage of Matt's passion for some Google Chrome extensions. One quick housekeeping note for those of you who are joining us live. Thank you for being here. I do have the Q&A app turned on, and we'll try and definitely monitor that. So please don't hesitate to throw out questions, and we'll try and answer them live on the air. And on the event page, feel free to comment on any extensions that we fail to mention, and you right the injustice that we create by making sure that gets shared. And the other housekeeping note I'll mention is that I'm a bachelor tonight. My wife's starting grad school this week, and so I'm alone with Paco, and he might bark. I apologize in advance if anybody hears mini schnauzer barking, which, as cute as it is the most shrill noise on the planet Earth. So I'll apologize in advance if that happens. Matt, I think you won the coin flip at the 50-yard line before we got started. So let's go ahead and get things rolling with you first as far as your first Chrome extension that is must-have for this new school year.
All right, definitely. By the way, mini schnauzer bark equals authentic, if you ask me. So I think we're good with that. And secondly, wait a second. You said earlier that if there were other Chrome extensions people wanted to suggest, they could put it in the question and answers. And I'm thinking, there are other Chrome extensions than the 5 we're going to talk about?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's right. There's lots of those. Okay. All right. So the first one I want to talk about, this is one that I'm starting to learn about a little bit more. I was just telling Noah before we went live that one of my absolute favorite Chrome extensions is being retired, and that is the Snagit extension created by TechSmith. They decided that they were going to retire that one at the end of August. So we'll bid a fond farewell to Snagit. And I think Screencastify is a really good replacement, because what Snagit would do, one of the things, many things that Snagit would do, is it would do screencasting. And if that sounds like a big, fancy, scary word, all that screencasting basically is it's recording a video of what's on your screen. And it can record through your microphone, or it can record the system audio, like the sound that would come through your computer speakers. And so that's really, really useful for doing a handful of things. It's great for creating instructional videos. I know sometimes teachers create screencast videos to leave with their students when they have substitute teachers in their room. so that there's no question what they're supposed to do. And then students can create really good presentations through this too. And so I am going to share my screen real quick and switch over. Here it is right here. Okay, so you can probably see the Screencastify website now. That's just at screencastify.com. I wanted to kind of scroll down through this and show you. So with this extension, as with any of the ones that we're going to talk about, if you're unfamiliar with what an extension is, it's just these little buttons up in the top right-hand corner of your Chrome browser. And they're almost like little programs that do something extra with the browser. So in this case, my little black box here that looks like a little piece of film is my Screencastify Chrome extension. And you get to these by clicking on your 3 lines. No, I'm gonna put you to the test real quick. What's your favorite nickname for these 3 lines? And if you don't have one, I'm gonna throw a couple at you.
I call it the vertical ellipsis. I call it the poor man's right click.
Nice. I've never heard of either of those. See, I've heard of them as being called pancakes, the 3 pancakes. I've heard them called the hamburger button because the top and the bottom are like the bun and then the middle is the hamburger. But my favorite, and I think the most accurate, is calling them the 3 hot dogs, and here's why. Because if you look at it like this, in the top right-hand corner of my screen, they look like hot dogs from the side. But have you noticed the other version of the menu button is 3 dots? And you know what that is? That's looking at the hot dogs from the end.
Oh, I love it. So yeah,
Right.
I actually have the 3 dots, not the 3 lines on mine. So
okay, yeah. So that's
my
just looking at the hot dogs from the end. See? So, okay. Anyway, enough of that silliness. So, so if we want to get Chrome extensions, this is what we're talking about all night tonight. You can click on this and you go down to more tools, and then there are the extensions. And so it pops up this new little window here, this new little tab. And then if you have any already installed, and I think Chrome comes with 1 or 2 of them, but they'll show up here, but then you can click on Get More Extensions. That's my favorite way to find all of the extensions. And that takes you straight to the Chrome Web Store. It says store, but I don't think anything in the Chrome Web Store costs anything. At least extensions don't, I don't think. Well, it says free. I guess they could charge, but I haven't seen anything that I've ever bought in here. So that's where you find
all the tools we're sharing tonight are free for everybody
Yes.
who's watching live. We are only sharing free tools.
Yes, yes, exactly. So anyway, that's where I would install it. Once it's installed, it's on your little extensions page right here. And then here's my Screencastify button. And so here's what it'll do. If I click that Screencastify button, a little window pops up like this, which I'm going to do here in a second. And it lets you set some specific things about how you want it to record your screen. So do you want it to just record what's in this tab? Do you want it to record what's on your desktop, or do you want it to use your webcam to record? It can record the audio from your microphone or from your computer. I mean, there's a handful of different things that it will do. And the thing that I love about it is that once you're done recording, once you click record and it's done recording, it can either upload your video straight to YouTube or to Google Drive. So if you're using Google Classroom and you want your students to be able to see a video, upload it to Google Drive and then just share that video right on Google Classroom. Or you can get a share link there. Or if you want to put it on YouTube for more people to see, that's definitely an option.
Yeah,
so anyway,
just one thing to
yes.
cut in there, Matt, I think especially for our colleagues who are in Chromebook one-to-one environments, especially if they're Chromebooks that don't have a lot of hard drive space on them, that can be really helpful to right away get that into Drive or get it onto YouTube. And it does give you the option to put it on YouTube unlisted, which can be a great privacy hack, to make sure that it's there, but nobody's going to find it unless they have the link to it. And so then it saves that valuable hard drive space.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up. So once I click on my button, this is what it looks like. And so I'm going to actually hit record tab, and we're going to try. You never know how this is going to turn out. But it looks like it's recording right now. See, I can't, not sure if you heard that, but it was counting down 3, 2, 1. And so now it's
It was
actually
surreal.
recording my screen. Did you hear it?
Yeah. It was like
That's
it was
great.
like Google Chrome extension Inception. It was a extension inside of an extension inside of an extension.
Yep, that's right. All right, so anyway, you've got these tools down here that you can use. Like I can use a pen and I can draw on my screen, kind of like that. I can erase it, and there's
It's
all
like
sorts of
John
stuff.
Madden Monday Night Football Telestrator.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's right. And so once I'm done, I hit this pause button here, and then I can hit stop, and then it will save my recording. It gives you the gist of how Screencastify works. And again, this is great for creating. It was counting down 3, 2, 1. So now it's actually recording my screen, and then it was just playing back my recording. I was wondering where my voice was coming from on there.
In class, Screencastify, as soon as you stop recording, immediately plays you a preview of what you created before you save it.
Yes, exactly. So, anyway, instructional videos, student projects. I mean, the sky's the limit with this. You could even use the Google Maps Street View, which is one of my absolute favorite tools, where it makes it look like you're down on the street of practically anywhere in the world. And if you do a screen recording of that, it's almost like taking people on a virtual walking tour of places around the world. So just a ton of things that you can do with Screencastify. So that's one of my absolute favorite Chrome extensions.
I love it so much, and I had not thought about the Street View, and you got the Spanish teacher mind really excited right now on a culture activity. I love it, Matt. So I get that's tag. I'm it now. And so what I'm going to do is share a tab that I like to, or a Chrome extension called Hypothesis. And am I doing okay? Am I on Hypothesis, Matt?
Yes, sir. I can see it.
So Hypothesis fits into this, what I call social reading. And so if you think of your Google Docs, for example, as a way of doing social writing or collaborative writing, flip that to consumption of media and make it social reading. And so how might that look? And Hypothesis is one great tool for that. I saw in the comments to the event in the hours leading up to this, Kevin Krogan shared Genius web annotation. It's a very similar tool, and actually Hypothesis was started by someone who left Genius. And Genius started out as this awesome kind of hipsters in New York verifying rap lyrics, basically. Like, what is Ludacris saying? I don't know. And so it worked like a Wikipedia page almost, where people would post lyrics and other people could edit them. And then it kind of grew from there to actual annotations. And so it wasn't just, here's the words to Beyonce's song. It's, oh, what does she mean when she says cigars on ice? And then here's a picture, and so this idea of social reading is annotating, it's up texting, it is conversing in the margins, it is adding more information. So you can add outside links, you can add videos, go into Google Street View, when Jay-Z talks about 530 State Street, you could have a Google Street View picture of what he's talking about there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I haven't actually done that one, but somebody hopefully will. And so this is their website. It is a totally free tool, and if anybody wants great ideas for how this is being done, one of my favorite folks on the Twitter is @RameyHolden, RemiHolden, @RameyHolden. He's a professor, and he's using Hypothesis to do annotation jams. And so what he's doing is having an article, and instead of printing out the article for his 20 students or however many students are in a seminar, he's posting to professor colleagues all around the country, hey, listen, next week we're going to do this reading. We're doing it online. Here's the URL. And then it's not just his 20 students and him, but he has multiple master's levels classes hopping on synchronously and asynchronously to actually uptext the reading. And so it saves paper, and it just, the reading, basically before you even get to class, you've already had the Socratic seminar. And so I have up here one of your blog posts about 10 sites for students with free time on their hands that I went ahead and started annotating. You can see Duolingo here is highlighted. If we click on it, it'll bring up, oh, Duolingo is cool on so many levels. After watching Founder's TED Talk, you can see I linked to an outside resource there. You'll start to see why. And so, one of the other examples, when we talked about Quiver, I was just thinking I can click on that, select annotate, comes over here. Another great resource for students to actually own the virtual reality content creation is Aurasma, right?
Yeah.
And then we can go to Aurasma, grab that URL, come back over to you, highlight it, paste a link, post to public, and then all of a sudden, anybody who's reading this and clicks on that is going to be able to see this. And anybody who's watching live, feel free to join us. We're at ditchthattextbook.com. And if you, on his search, type in free time, hopefully this will come up. And you can we can have a live on the air annotation jam on Matt's blog post here. And, one of the things you'll see, it says show replies. So you can see Matt responded to my annotation here live in real time. And there's also the ability to then share this outside of the website, right? So we can then share it out to Twitter, Facebook, Google+. We can email it, get a link to this hypothesis page. For folks like you who are running WordPress sites, there's a free hypothesis plugin. So if your class is on a WordPress site, you can actually, without having people even install the extension, they can live on your blog actually jump into the annotations. They just need an account.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. This is that, and I had never seen this until tonight when Noah showed it to me. And I mean, the possibilities for this just kind of start blowing me away, because I'm kind of big on using Skype, using Google Hangouts, using Google Docs to connect classes within the country or beyond, globally. And I'm thinking this is just another route where you could get the same article and pull in classes from different cities or countries or states or whatever, and then get their different perspectives. I mean, if you have some sort of world news and we're able to connect with a class in another country, I mean, forget about having to do it in real time and setting up a video call and all of that. This is so much easier, and everybody's involved. Everybody gets to play in this way. So that's some of the stuff that gets me excited about using a tool like this.
Totally. And one thing I'd add on top of that is the potentiality for an authentic audience, right? We talk so much about student content creation. We talk about this authentic sharing, right? And as much as I love a site like Storybird, say, for digital storytelling, there's probably not this huge authentic audience logging on to Storybird looking for stories to read, right? And so with a tool like this, there's this potentiality that a week later, a month later, 2 years later, a student could get a reply to her annotation, from somebody who's not a friend of their teacher, right? That somebody who actually was reading that same Shakespeare sonnet and is replying to their annotation saying, "Oh, I totally love where you took this." It may remind, and then all of a sudden there's this conversation that can be born out of that, which I think really speaks to what you say with that connectedness. So I think I definitely timed out there and will tag right back to you with your next must-have Chrome extension for the new year.
Put it right there. There we go. All right. Nice. Okay, so I'm going to switch to a Google tool that some people don't realize exists out in the Google sphere. And that one's called Google Keep. And I fell in love with Google Keep about 2 years ago, I think. Getting ready to share my screen here. I'm going to show you kind of what Google Keep is. Basically, it's not flashy, it's not sexy, but it is so useful. Basically, Google Keep is like digital sticky notes. And if you're anything like me, here, I'm going to take the screen share off for a second. So if you're anything like me, I'm a big sticky note person. And in my classroom, I have had sticky notes on my desk. I've had them on my screen. I've had them kind of all over the place. And I would find that I would write important stuff down on those. And when I would get home, my sticky note was still at school. So any of that stuff that I wrote down didn't come with me until I started using Google Keep. And so what's amazing about this is that all of these sticky notes are tied to your Google account. And so all you need to do is come up here to where it says take a note. Now, this is the Google Keep website. I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to show you how the extension ties into this. But if I click on take a note, see with this sticky note, I can put a title. So I could say like,
and Matt, just for anybody who's playing along at home right now, you can get to where Matt is if you want to do this on your own. It looks like it's just keep.google.com.
Right, yes, I'm glad you mentioned that. And so I could put a title on it. Awesome video call. There we go. And so you just write whatever text you want in. You can put clickable links in. This button lets you add an image. You can color code them, so you can make them whatever color you want. You can actually share them with other people. So if they use Google Keep, then this note would show up with them. I mean, the sky's the limit. There's also a label option. And I've started labeling certain things that I want to keep. It's, it's kind of like a tag or a, kind of like a folder or something like that.
So across different posted boards, basically, I can then search for things. If I get fancy with labels, it can kind of help me curate without actually needing to be organized.
Yes, yes. And that's one of the nice things about Google's label system, because they use this in Gmail too, because sometimes like a note or an email or whatever falls under multiple categories, but if you use folders, it can only go in one folder. With this, in this case, it can sort it a little bit better. And then if your Google Keep note gets a little bit too big, they've got this copy to Google Doc. So if you've got all of this text and you want to keep it someplace a little more permanent, you can create a Google Doc out of it. And so so this is basically what Google Keep is. And the great thing about this is that, kind of like what I was saying earlier, it crosses over, well, it basically stays with your Google account. And so I could add that note on my computer, and then I could turn around and I could pick it up on my phone, and after it's synced, which is pretty much just in moments, it shows up on your phone. Now, as you are surfing the web, this is where the Google Keep Chrome extension can be really useful. And so let's say we are kind of scanning around and we found some, maybe an article that we think is interesting. There's this one blog that I really like that's on Medium. It's called, see what I did there? It's called Verses by this exceptional writer. Oh wow, his name's Noah. Have you heard of this guy before?
Heard of him. He likes to hear himself talk.
Oh yeah. Well, I like to read what he says. So anyway, you find something like this, and then if you decide you want to hang on to that link, then all you've got to do, once you've installed the Google Keep Chrome extension, which again, like I was saying earlier, you just bring up your little menu button, and it's under Tools and Extensions, and then you just go add it. So once you've got the Google Keep Chrome extension, you click on it, and you can see right here, it's got this little spot right here that shows you what the link is. You can automatically, just right from here, modify what's in the note. Another amazing blog post by Noah Geisel. And then, see, I can put whatever I want up here. I happen to put Teachable Moment, which was in the name of the blog post, but here's where you can add a label to it if you want. It was clearly inspirational to me, so I'm going to click on that one. And then once I'm done, see where it says saved here. Now this note is saved into my Google Keep. So even if I close this, look here. Now it's added the link. It's got a little clickable card down here. It's got all the text that I put in, and I didn't even have to leave the page to add it to my notes. So if you want to keep these links, if you want to keep these pages saved into your Google Keep account, it's really nice to have this extension because it will let you do that right from the screen, and you don't even have to jump over. Because before, I used to have to copy the link, go over, create a new note, paste the link in, add all the stuff, then go back, and it was a big hassle. Not like, an extra 15 seconds out of somebody's day is going to make or break you, but it's handy. It's a nice extension to have, and it's one that I really use all the time.
Yeah, my mind's kind of a little bit blown here. We do have a question from Joseph who's asking are there two Keep extensions in the store? He remembers downloading one, but then liking the other one more. Not sure if it's still
Okay.
like that.
This one, I believe, is called, I'm looking over at my button and it says Save to Keep. I'm going to pull up my, figure out which one it was that I just added so I can tell you for certain. That's a good question.
Thank you for doing that. And, I think you totally just preempted anybody who was about to ask, like I was. So, is Google Keep really just kind of Padlet on steroids? And clearly with that extension, it's a lot more than that. I almost see it's almost like Padlet meets Digo, which I know is
Yes, very much so.
I saw somebody else mention was Digo, which I know I use a lot, and I saw somebody mention that on the event page that they love Digo as a Chrome extension. But I can really see Google Keep, especially with those labels, kind of doing the same function as Digo does in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and I've heard people make the connection between Keep and Padlet, and I think Padlet is good for creating a board about a particular thing, and then you move on, and you can create another board about something else. And I think of Google Keep more as my desk and my screen where I put all of my sticky notes. They all end up right there, and then so I think it's more of an all-encompassing thing. Whereas a Padlet, you can make one particular board for a specific thing. So I think that's kind of the big difference. And I think that Google Keep has some features that Padlet doesn't have. So looks like the only one that I see, I'll go ahead and share it real quick so that you can see exactly what it looks like. The only extension that I see here is the one that says Google Keep Chrome extension. Save to Google Keep in a single click, and it looks like this. So that's the one. There is the app up here, which is different. Since we're talking about Chrome extensions here, this is the extension that will put the little icon up here in the top right-hand corner of your screen.
Awesome. That's a great distinction. For anybody else who does have questions, who's watching us live, please do use that Q&A app. We'll make sure to get those answered, and we're definitely, feel free to use those as comments, like our friend Eric Johnson, Mishawaka, Indiana, did a little earlier. We appreciated your little comment there, Eric.
At your kid's teacher on Twitter.
Teacher, yes.
Teacher, yes.
You get double promo here on this little hangout, Eric. He's doing some amazing stuff for primary education in Mishawaka, Indiana. So is it back to me, Matt, to share my next extension tag?
Tag to you. That's right.
All right, there we go. So my next one that I want to share is called Stack Up. And what Stack Up is it's this little S here in the top right-hand corner of the screen that you see. And if I click on it, it's going to tell me what category of website I'm actually reading right now. So I'm on Ditch That Textbook. It is an education categorized website. And what it's going to do that's really cool, I think, for teachers and learners is it's going to keep track of all my time that I spend reading within this category of education and anything I read online, as long as I have it on. So at any point in time, I can click to turn it off. But if it's on, it's working in the background to just sort of start to gather information for me as a lifelong learner that I really think might be able to help students down the road communicate about their passions to employers, right? That when they graduate from college and are applying for a job at, say, Remax, and Remax says, well, how do we know you're really into real estate? Maybe they haven't taken any coursework in that. But what if the category up here is real estate and they have 900 hours over the last 8 years of their academic career of real estate related reading? That could actually be a really valuable data point to share with a potential employer that can communicate your passion and perhaps even a degree of expertise. And so I thought it might be fun, Matt, for you to actually just really quickly install it in case somebody didn't actually want to go to the Chrome store to do it, just to show on their website. So I'll stop sharing and let you share. And so if you go to stackup.net is where you'll be able to do it, and folks will be able to see how quick and easy it is there. And one thing I should just full disclosure mention is that I was really excited about Stack Up. Started about a year and a half ago when I found out about it. I was presenting about it, and then I found out that they're based right here in Denver. I met up with them and said, hey, if you guys ever want an education ambassador, I'm your guy. And they said, got back to me a few weeks later and said, yeah, let's do that. So I do have an official relationship with them. I want to definitely do full disclosure on that. But again, as you can see there on Matt's screen, it's free. And for the time being, it's free. And if you sign up right now this semester, even when they switch to paid, your account and your students' accounts are free for life. So that's that. So Matt clicked on sign in with Google. He can click on I'm a teacher, or add to Chrome, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm a teacher?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good.
And then for most of us, we're going to be signing up with Google because that's just the easy way.
I love any website that makes this an option to sign up with Google. I do it every time. All right. All right. Looks like we're there.
Yeah. And so, he's going to be able to click through these onward screens, to just kind of get acquainted. And he'll then be able to, once he gets through the fourth one, you can say enough already and close it. And then there's one last step you can see on the green to actually install the Chrome extension. So this is one in order for it to be working, you both have to have the extension installed and you have to have an account. So that's why I'd recommend going through stackup.net to do it. Or, if you're in a GAFE district that your administrator can actually just push StackUp out to all users, and that would certainly be an easy way to go about it as well. And so if you click on that S there, Matt, yeah, there you go. You are live and up and running.
Nice.
And so if you want to pass the screen share baton back to me.
Yes.
I will kind of show where I think one of the really cool features here is that once we click on that S, we can then access our dashboard. And from our dashboard, we're going to be able to see our top categories of how many minutes and hours we spend, how much time we have till we level up to the next level. So if you have students who, from that kind of gamification lens are motivated by tracking that purple bar that they're getting closer and closer to the next level, that can be motivating. It tells you your percentile within that category compared to other StackUp users. So whereas in social networking, I'm in the 91st percentile, in a category like automotive, I'm pretty low. And so the coolest thing, I think, for a classroom teacher is the challenges. And so I can create a challenge and I can say, I really want to do Google Apps, education-related reading. And I want to make this challenge, or maybe actually let's just even go more broad and just say education reading. And I can make this challenge a single day. I can make it months long. I can make it for 1 hour. I can make it for 1,000 hours. I can add minutes to that. Right now it's 0 and 30. They told me that because of teacher feedback from elementary teachers saying, we'd love it to be more granular than that here in a couple weeks they're going to roll it to where this will allow you to choose 5, 10, 15 through 55-minute markers there. So let's say we're going to make this an hour and a half long challenge. And then the type of challenge is it can be all categories, which means basically any reading that they're doing online. You can do it in specific categories, and you can choose multiple categories. So here you can see that there's 60 plus categories that they've send any given website gets categorized, like your website is education. Or another really cool thing that we can do, especially for those shorter challenges that are maybe a day long, is a website level challenge. Where if you are having them go to a specific domain, like Raz Kids, you can actually check them on that particular website. For ours, I'm just going to go education-related reading, if that's okay with you. And then I'm going to say create challenge. And then Matt, on your side, and for anybody who's playing live along with us, feel free to join in. You can go ahead and click on your dashboard here. You can click on challenges. And then you can go to find a challenge. And you can paste that in there. It's It looks like 0LLZ1 or capital I. I think that's a capital I.
70LLZ and a capital I. Okay.
And then you can click Find Challenge. Did that work?
Looking. It's looking slowly. Yes. Yes, I believe. Yep, that's right. And it looks like you're the only one in there. And you're number one on the leaderboard. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate it. I'm crushing it on this particular reading challenge. And
yes.
If you do me a favor and real quick, just click Join Challenge.
Oh, of course, yes. Okay.
And so now I'll be able to refresh my screen and I'll be able to see that I'm no longer alone in the challenge. My leaderboard now includes you. And so, you know, that group, this challenge code works just like in Google Classroom, Edmodo, Schoology, you know, a group code for your students to join. So you can create the challenge and then push this out on Classroom or write it on the board for your students. They join, and then your leaderboard doubles as a classroom roster, really. Just instead of being alphabetical, it's going to be in the order of minutes and hours that students spend reading online. And it does have, you know, patent pending technology that knows that we're on this tab versus my Twitter tab. It knows if we're active. So if I go a few moments without scrolling, it assumes I'm no longer engaged and stops tracking my time. So a student can't go to NewYorkTimes.com and you know, then go play on PlayStation for 30 minutes and come back and expect to receive 30 minutes of reading time.
Come on, you're no fun.
Yeah, but I really, again, you know, like, while it's going to be definitely helpful for a lot of educators from a compliance lens, I think some of the real power is going to be really more looking at student assets and when they can start to build a portfolio of, you know, what their categories are, and they're going to be able to add websites to their portfolio, say, oh, you know, I spend a lot of time on, you know, the Denver Post, and then it adds it here and it's verifiable that, yeah, I actually have this amount of time. It's not self-reported. And then they can copy the link to their profile and share it out to their teachers. So, you know, without digging too much further into it, there's definitely lots of different use cases, I think, for it, but that's the real basic, that, you know, teachers and students can keep track of how much time they're spending online in a real verifiable way. And I really think it has a lot of potential. Do you have any thoughts there? And then I'll get to a couple of our questions that just came in.
No, I think that's awesome. And, you know, I think that, you know, getting a little bit broader in more philosophical in education, I think with colleges continuing to get more and more expensive, and with all of these different ways that we can show our learning and show our understanding of certain materials, you know, they're going to be, you know, badges, and they're going to be all these different ways that we can show what we're able to do that aren't just a college diploma. And this could be another one of those things, like you were saying with the real estate example. I mean, if you show someone that you've been studying this subject basically through current events or blogs or whatever, that's got to be huge. I think maybe there's even a professional development side of this too, where if you can log what you've been learning and use that as, you know, as an example of that, I think that's huge. So yeah, I can see just all sorts of potential in this. And I love the fact that there are leaderboards also. I mean, just the ability to see how you stack up with, oh, did I just say stack up? I did. You see what I didn't even mean to do that. How you stack up with everybody else on the leaderboard. I think that would be really motivating for me as a student too. So I love this extension. I'm glad you brought it up.
Awesome. And yeah, again, full disclosure, I am doing work with StackUp, and I should put out there that beyond it being free for life for anybody who's watching that signs up, you can also get free PD with me for your staff. So if you do check out StackUp and say, oh, we could really use a webinar or you know, some custom PD around this, let me know. And it's on StackUp, compliments of them. So please do join. Matt, before I tag, we do have a Screencastify question from, hey, Vilma, from Vilma. She's wondering how long Screencastify allows the recording to be.
Okay, that's a good question. I looked that up, and on the Screencastify Lite, which is free, you can get up to 10 minutes per video, and it says with an embedded Screencastify logo, so it'll have a little Screencastify on it. And if you were to purchase the single user the single user license, so if you actually get the paid version, you get unlimited recording on all devices that you're signed into with your Google account. You can crop, you can trim the beginning and the ending off of videos, and then there's no Screencastify logo, and that's $24 a year. But if you're going to use just 10 minutes or less and you're okay with the little Screencastify logo, you can get away with that for free.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. If you are looking to do editing of your videos, you may need to start doing some app smashing or even using a different tool. But for just straightforward tutorials, student feedback, it's just such a great tool. Thanks for that question. That was really awesome.
The second half of her question was, does this compare to Flipgrid, which is not free? And I haven't used Flipgrid, but just from pulling up the website and looking at it, it looks like Flipgrid is a lot more social than Screencastify is. Screencastify is more like create your own video and then save it to YouTube or save it to Drive, whereas Flipgrid, I think, gives more collaboration opportunities.
Totally. Real quick, we have another question from Peter, and he says he's wondering if we could recommend extensions to assist special education students. And do you have something off the top of your head before I give him a really fancy I don't know?
Yeah, I'm going to be the fancy I saw that question come in, and that's like every single one of my weakness areas, I think, is all packaged into that one question. Pre-algebra, no, I don't have anything that I'll keep thinking about it through the show, and if anything pops up, I'll definitely mention it. But yeah, mine's a fancy I don't know also.
Yeah, and Peter, just so you know, but Matt and I are both kind of perfectionists who are not just going to be satisfied with our I don't know. We're just transparent and honest right now live on the air. You can count on us to go ahead and look into this and definitely post something in the near future with some ideas to definitely help you out there. So thank you for that question. It is a really important question. And
yes.
we're rather than fake our way through it, we'll just admit we don't have a good answer for you yet, but we will. So Matt, I think, and we're definitely well over on my time there. I'm going to tag back to you for your next extension.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to pop my my screen share on here, and I'm going to take you to a site that I found in the last several months or so, and it's called Noisely. And I don't know if you've ever had one of these classes where kids want to listen to music, or the silent classroom is more distracting than the noisy classroom with some kids. And if you can have some sort of ambient noise or some sort of white noise going on in the background, sometimes that's better for those kids than if things are completely silent. And so I really like Noisely for this. I know that this like teal color is on with the white is kind of hard to see, so I hope you can see it. And as you can see, the color kind of changes as you go. But they have all of these sounds that you can play, and they're just kind of like unobtrusive background noises that you can use, like this one. Can you hear that, Noah?
It must be really good at the ambient noise.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well,
I don't know that I'm hearing it.
I guess I'm not probably sharing my audio, but anyway, that one was a rain shower. There's a thunderstorm. Rustling leaves. You've got seaside, water stream. You name it. My favorite one is this one, and that's the coffee shop. And it basically plays kind of like, the ambient noise that you would hear in a coffee shop. You've got glasses clinking together or coffee mugs clinking. You've got people chattering. You've got just the chairs scooting in and out. And it really does kind of make you feel like you're sitting at a Starbucks or just anything like that. And then what you can also do that's neat with this is that you can combine multiple ones together. So you could combine the crackling fireplace with the coffee shop, and you could have a nice, cozy place to do your work, right? So that you can set, I believe, under the favorites. And I've got the Noisely extension right up here. So I don't even need to be on the website. I can just click on the extension. So it loads, and you can see there's an example. There's Cafe Fire. That was one that you have these combos that you can blend together in the extension. You can change your volume here. And then the other thing that's nice is they've got this timer. So if you want to use this as a cue for students to say, okay, you've got 15 minutes to work on this, whenever the windy beach stops, then it's time for us to move on to something else. So you can start it, and then, I'll click on this one.
I love this so much, Matt. I'm just picturing our students who are going to be, that are going to tell us every single day, I need my headphones and it helps me concentrate.
Right.
And this just strikes me as such a great way for us to, instead of engaging in an argument with that student over, whether or not listening to whatever they're listening to is going to help them concentrate, to instead say, totally, yeah, put on your headphones, use your Noisely extension, and go to your, crackly fire cafe rainstorm and concentrate away. I'm here for you.
Yes, absolutely. And I could even see if everybody could fairly agree on one, I could even see the teacher pushing it out through the speakers for everybody to be able to hear. And then that way, if you wanted to if you had like group work or whatever, and you wanted to be able to talk, you wouldn't even have to worry about the headphones there. So yeah, lots and lots of options.
I could see teachers who are using Class Dojo, that you use the randomizer, and student gets to, not only do they get to answer the question, they get to choose the next ambient noise sound.
Yep.
Yeah, I love this so much. Another thing I love so much is just some of the folks who took the time to do the questions and answers with us. Sherry Edwards just posting tons of great shares on the event page. Tracy, I hope you're able to watch this not live since it says you're having trouble watching it live. So hopefully we'll be able to get you a link to this. Thank you for caring enough to share that. Lisa, thank you for your comments. Everybody who posted stuff in advance. And Sherry, for all your questions, I'll hop into the comments there and make sure we get those answered asynchronously. And really, I just can't thank you, Matt Miller, enough for taking the time out of your busy schedule to kind of jump in this sandbox with me and share some of these amazing extensions. Teachers are hungry for this, and you go to any Twitter chat where one of the questions is asking about what are your challenges this year, the number one answer is time. And so while we have totally just taken up 48 minutes of your time, it's our sincere hope that that ultimately saves you hours of searching for great extensions and having to teach yourself how to use them. Hopefully this was a chance for you to dig in and use them as well.
Yes, totally agree. And these are things that both Noah and I are passionate about, and we use ourselves and everything. And so, and I think Chrome extensions to some people are kind of a mystery. And hopefully you've seen sort of how some of them work and how you can add them. So what's nice is that you can just jump into that Chrome web store by clicking on the menu button and going down to tools and extensions, and you just go add. When you go to add them, you've got all of these that you can search through. So you might even find one that you really, really like that you don't even know about until you search for it. So serendipity is kind of a wonderful thing sometimes.
Yeah, and encouraging people to play. Don't be afraid to break stuff. You're probably not going to break anything. And if you do break it, it's probably pretty easily reparable. You just uninstall the extension and reinstall it, just like an application on your phone. And hopefully everything works out for you. Did we just lose Matt?
Nope, I'm still here. Sorry.
Oh, you went statue on me. Here I thought your screen froze. You were just being very, very still.
I was very focused. Actually, I was out on the event page, and it looks like Sherry Edwards has posted a link. This says special education links for Eric Kurtz. And if you don't know Eric Kurtz, this guy is a wizard with Google Apps, and he's got a really good website. I think it's called Control Alt Achieve. And he's posted a list of a whole bunch of good special education links into a Google Doc, and Sherry very graciously shared that with all of us. So that might be a good answer for the question that Peter asked earlier.
Awesome. Props to Sherry. Thank you so much for that. And again, my name is Noah Geisel. I'm at SenorG on Twitter. You can find me on Medium at medium.com/@SenorG. And just a huge honor and a pleasure to do this little broadcast for anybody who's watching live, and as well as on YouTube. And Matt Miller, just thank you so much for taking time to play with me tonight. So much fun to collaborate with you as always.
This was awesome. We got to do it again.
I'm going to keep you to that, man. Have a good night, everybody.